Here is another example of just how useful LightningTrace can be in illumination work. I have here a projector which is projecting an image of a bitmap onto a distant screen, and you can see here's the bitmap. We have a condensing optical system that illuminates the bitmap in a Kohler manner, and then we have a projector system that then projects that onto the distant screen. Everything's perfectly normal about that. And I'm tracing with this particular design 1 million rays through the system, and if I use ray tracing, clear detectors and trace, you'll see that 1 million rays takes me about 5 seconds to trace, which is extremely fast, and I get a very nice result like so. Now, the benefit of LightningTrace, of course, is that it traces far faster than rays can. So if I just LightningTrace the same system and trace, then I get these results in 0.2 of a second compared to 5 seconds, and that's terrific. I mean, you get the same results in a fraction of the time. That's terrific. But where it gets to be particularly helpful is when you need to start looking at things like, for example, the effects of rotating your objects, or the effects of keystone distortion in your projector. And this is really where LightningTrace comes into its own. If I use the visual optimizer here, the things which I'm picking up are the Z orientation of the original slide object, which I can rotate around Z, and the X and Y tilt of the screen, which represents the keystone distortion that I often need to compensate for. And I'm just going to increase the ranges of these things somewhat, just so that you can see what's going on. The next thing I'm going to do is just tell this to use LightningTrace to retrace the rays. And if I simply rotate the object, you can see that in real time the screens update. As I'm rotating the slide, you can see the results using LightningTrace updating real time. And in fact, LightningTrace is so fast that it's actually faster than the time it takes us to redraw these screens. So I'm just going to lock this particular window here, so it stays fixed, and you can see now just how fast LightningTrace is. I mean, this is more or less real-time illumination design. And if I then start to tilt the screens, you can see the let me make that a little bit bigger. You can see that the distortion, the keystone distortion, becomes really apparent. There, let me make that -40 to +40, and you can really see very apparent keystone distortion in all of this. And I'll do the same thing in X, or rather do it in Y as well. You can see distortion there, and if I just simply turn this back on, you can see that took slightly longer to redraw than it actually does to do the whole calculation itself. That's how fast LightningTrace is. It's fast enough that the time it takes to redraw the windows becomes significant, and that's really terrific. So if you're doing any kind of lighting or illumination type of work, LightningTrace really just shifts you into a whole new paradigm where the speed of ray tracing is no longer an issue.